තාත්තා රට රස්සාවට යන්නම ඕනේද?
ඔව් පුතේ.
ඇයි ඒ?
පුතාට සතුටින් ඉන්න ඕනේ හින්දානේ. ජාවාරම්කරුවන්ට අහු නොවි වැදගත් විදිහට වැඩ ටික කරගෙන සතුටින් රට යන්න.
I'm Swasthika Arulingam, speaking on behalf of the Movement for People's Council. This year marks a very significant year for not only the Malay community but also Sri Lanka. It is 200 years since workers from India were brought here as to work in plantations, and we are marking the 200 year this year. But unfortunately, this is not something which we can feel proud of or we can celebrate, because I don't have to say this. We all know this. For 200 years, an entire community have been kept under slave-like conditions. To date, people who live and work in the estates do not have housing, do not have the right to own land, cannot independently go and seek education and health without the permission of the estate management. They can't even repair their own house without the permission of the estate management. So for 200 years, we have kept an entire community as slaves so that we can earn revenue for this country in terms of tea exports, rubber exports, and so on. So while we are speaking about the conditions of plantation workers and so on, we also have to take account and stock of our role as a society and what we have been willing to tolerate, not even tolerate, but look aside because we feel that revenue is coming into the country. In 1940, when we first reached independence, when we first obtained independence, what did we do? One of the first things we did was we de-citizenized or removed the citizenship of an entire community through the Citizenship Act. And then after that, in 1964 and then in 1974, through pacts with India, we sent this community which has been living in this country for decades, we sent them back to India as if they are not even part of us, that is, as if they are not even part of our country. And to date, I want to highlight what Jagan was saying. To date, the politics of this country is framed as if the Malay community is not part of this country, and that is hugely problematic because we want to have this dichotomy. On the one hand, we want to maintain them under these slave-like conditions so that we can continue to obtain revenue through tea in this country, and at the same time, when it's convenient for us, we say, no, they're not part of this country, they are another origin, and so on. So we also maintain this hypocritical dichotomy. When they're useful, we use the Malay community, and then when they're not useful, then we say they're not part of us. So I want to highlight this hypocritical dichotomy which we as Sri Lankan people also maintain. To date we maintain this. And because of that dichotomy only, because of that hypocrisy amongst us as a society, people, they have been the employers or the planters association or the people who employ plantation workers have been able to get away with things like paying less than starvation wages for these workers. Now you remember the 1,000 wage struggle which was happening a few years back, and through the struggles of the plantation workers, they did win the demand for 1,000 wages. But to date, this 1,000 wages is not paid to the plantation workers. To date, under various guises and pretexts, they have not been paid the 1,000 wage. And in today's context, in today's inflation and today's cost of living context, can anyone live with 1,000 rupees wage per day wage structure? Can anyone live? And the narrative which was built around this 1,000 wage campaign, when you look at employers, when you look at even the media, the narrative which was planters association and regional planters companies are making loss because of this wage hike. That is the narrative which was built in the mainstream media and in the mainstream society. They made losses because workers are demanding for wages which are not starvation wages. So what are we saying as a society? We are saying that we are okay with estate workers earning less than decent wages. We are okay with the children of the plantation families starving. We are okay with the living conditions. We are okay with them living the way they are living, provided that plantation companies and provided that our country is able to obtain the revenue which we are obtaining in this country. So I want to once again there was a question which was asked about plantation politicians and so on. And yes, their politicians also have been very self-serving, no doubt about that. Recently, in the EPF debate, Jeevan Tondaman did vote to cut the EPF funds of plantation workers, which is very ironic because they would be one of the most affected communities. But I'm not satisfied with putting this entire debate on representatives of the plantation community, because we as a country also have been very happy to let people live in these conditions for almost for 200 years, and we have been looking away from it. We have been okay with that condition existing in this country, that shame of keeping an entire community in a slave-like situation to date. We have been okay with that as a society. So we also have to take that burden and responsibility on what has happened and what the plantation community has to undergo in terms of what they had to do to the country, and in return what they had to undergo. And while speaking about all of this, I want to say that it's not that the plantation workers and the plantation community have been, just sitting and watching us save them. There has been many struggle. For instance, there was a huge struggle waged by alternate estate workers, and this was a struggle against harassment, sexual harassment, which was imposed on the workers, which was committed on the workers by that particular plantation company. Now, currently, there is a struggle going on by Ramboda plantation workers, where they are demanding for land rights. There's been struggles which have been going on for a 20 perch land piece so that they can build their own houses. So there are several struggles. There's a wage struggle going on now. Plantation workers are demanding for 2,500 as a daily wage. So there are several struggles going on. And as Hiru was saying, if you are a person who has drunk 1 cup of tea in this country, there is no excuse for you to not join this struggle. We have to join this struggle. We have to join this struggle as in support and solidarity of workers who have been asking for decent living. And the last thing which I want to say is that because we have imposed this condition, and all of us as a country, we have imposed this condition on our workers. In 1948, when the Citizenship Act was passed, it was not just the representative of the plantation workers who remained silent. Who passed this 1948 Citizenship Act? It was a singular political leadership. It was a Tamil political leadership. We all got together and removed the citizenship of this community. So that is a historical shame which we need to overcome. And I think at this point, we also, on behalf of the Movement for People's Council, I also want to say that because these people have been subjected to so much of degradation in their way of living, we also have to start demanding for affirmative action on the part of the government to improve their living standards, to improve access to education, and to improve their general living conditions in general. We need to start demanding for affirmative action from the state to bring the plantation community to the level of all other communities in Sri Lanka. And that push has to come from us. Now, currently there is a Mannar to Matale walk going on where they are demanding for so many things. And I hope all of us also can join this march. And not only this march, but all of us can join the struggle of the plantation workers, the struggles which they are engaging in for decent wages, for decent living, for land, for education, for health. I hope all of us can join in and give solidarity and support to this community who have been the backbone of the economy of Sri Lanka. Thank you.
තාත්තා රට රස්සාවට යන්නම ඕනේද?
ඔව් පුතේ.
ඇයි ඒ?
පුතාට සතුටින් ඉන්න ඕනේ හින්දානේ. ජාවාරම් කරුවන්ට අහු නොවි වැදගත් විදිහට වැඩ ටික කරගෙන සතුටින් රට යන්න.